governments end up talking with the wrong people. Especially, I'm looking back to the last dispensation. You must get leaders who are respected by these boys, not just the usual thieves who have all over the place in the name of political leaders.
But again, that has been the fear of people from
the region.
There
are very few.
Because we've had, in the past weeks, we've had people on the program who have come up to say the fear is who are the genuine people that the government definitely should be having this dialogue with. So getting to identify those people to speak with is another pain that the Niger Delta region is going through. How best can they identify who is to represent the interest of the genuine interest of the region?
That is where I would say our intelligence team should do some real work. In as much as we have said, look, let the military pipe low on whatever violent action, I expect military intelligence to be working seriously in sorting out this. There is plenty of advice they can give to the political arm of government, which they would use. You are on ground. I mean, I was in Bakassi, for instance, for about 3 years during the skirmishes and so on. We were able to pick out leaders, community leaders, whom government could talk with. You know them. Those who are respected in the community. They are not noisemakers. You don't see their names on newspapers. All those ones you see on newspapers are the ones looking for contract in Abuja. You don't see their names on newspapers. They're always there, calmly, gentle, well respected.
By the people.
By the people. When people are passing by the houses and they're seated outside, you see everybody bowing. You begin to ask, as a military man operating there, who is this gentleman? And they tell you about him. These are the sort of people we should go after. Not all these politicians looking for contracts in Abuja who come to tell you stories. The military intelligence should go in and get out this sort of information for us and bring out this list to government.
Do you think that they don't have this information? I mean, after all this while of investigating and going there, relating with the people, do you think the government doesn't have this information?
I wouldn't be able to say really, because at times, if you are outside government, you don't really know how they operate in. They may have, they may not have. And let's be fair to the system, bureaucracy at times delays a lot of things.
With the kind of situation we find ourselves, should we allow issues like bureaucracy to delay something as important as getting the right people to negotiate with, just to get the nation out of this dark water?
Well, politics is on ground, so...
Because this is an emergency.
Yes, I agree with you. And if I say this now, you might think I'm probably a military apologist, sort of. If it were to be under, say, a military administration, I just want us to look back a bit. Things like this are very easy to be accomplished immediately. The president could just say, look, pick them up and bring them forward, and let's talk. And things like that, or he sends in powerful delegations to meet with all those individuals, and they assemble them, and they talk on ground.
Got a question from Mark.
Well, Colonel, how sincere do you think the federal government is in initiating this discussion? Because there are fears that the government doesn't seem very sincere. Some quarters have raised accusations against some of the president's aides in terms of how they've handled the proposed dialogue.
Mark, we thanks for that question anyway. We know the character of the leadership of this country. We know the character of Mr. President. He is a man with integrity. He is a man who wants to live by his words. Okay? He's somebody who I have personally come to respect when he says, this is it, and this is what we're going to do, and he makes sure it is done. I have often said this in several fora that, look, the president is not a politician, frankly speaking, with the way he goes about his things, and that's why at times, even those around him at times, when you piss him off, he tells you straight away. So I must say this, Malcolm, that I think government is serious about it. Mr. President sincerely wants this country to move forward. And at this moment, when you begin to blast all our pipelines and so on, you are strangling the country. There can be improvement in life situation because gas cannot. Say again, my dear.
How would the militants themselves know that the government is sincere?
I think government has reached out enough to them to, explain to them how sincere they are. How else do they want to be told that government is sincere about this? How else?
But if you look at these statements, recent ones coming through from governments where they say, look, we have about 14 groups, so we don't know who we're going to negotiate with, so we can't negotiate with anyone. We'll just go ahead and do what we have to do. Would that be a good approach?
The entire situation is rather frustrating, I must tell you this. It's frustrating, especially when you see what is happening in the Niger Delta now. I want to liken it with the terrorist actions we had in the Northeast. Once you start talking of negotiation, all sorts of groups begin to emerge. And one fundamental character of terrorism is that they hardly have what we call a united united leadership, so to speak, especially when negotiations are on the table.
All right, Colonel, okay? I'm afraid we'll have to go on. Okay, we'll have to go on a quick break, Colonel. We'll be back in just a moment. Join us again.